I sat at the long table in the private dining room, trying not to feel out of place among the executives in their expensive suits. The CEO, Mr. Harrison, had invited our entire department to celebrate the company's record-breaking quarter. I was the only junior analyst at the table, surrounded by senior managers and directors. My boss, Derek Palmer, sat directly across from me, laughing loudly at something the VP said. He'd been in a great mood all week, showing off his new watch and talking about the vacation home he'd just bought in Colorado. Mr. Harrison stood up, tapping his wine glass to get everyone's attention. I want to thank all of you for the incredible work this quarter. The Meridian account alone brought in $12 million, and that success belongs to this team. Everyone clapped politely. I shifted in my seat, remembering the countless late nights I'd spent building the financial models that had won us that account. The spreadsheets, the projections, the presentations. I'd done most of the technical work while Derek took the client meetings. I especially want to acknowledge Derek's leadership, Mr. Harrison continued, nodding toward my boss. And I hope everyone enjoyed their performance bonuses. You all earned them. My stomach dropped. Bonuses? What bonuses? I tried to keep my expression neutral, but my mind was racing. I hadn't received any bonus. I'd assumed junior analysts weren't eligible, but Mr. Harrison had just said everyone earned them. Around the table, people were nodding and smiling, making comments about how generous the bonuses had been. Derek caught my eye and quickly looked away, his smile faltering for just a second. Something was very wrong. Mr. Harrison walked around the table, shaking hands and making personal comments. When he reached me, he smiled warmly. Sophia, I heard you're the technical genius behind those Meridian models. Derek's been singing your praises. Thank you, sir, I managed, though Derek had never praised me to my face. I hope the bonus helped with those student loans you mentioned in your new hire interview, Mr. Harrison continued kindly. I remember you saying that was your biggest financial stress. The table went silent. Everyone was looking at me, waiting for my response. Derek's face had gone pale. I opened my mouth, then closed it. Finally, I said quietly, "What bonus, sir?" Mr. Harrison's smile froze. "I'm sorry. I haven't received any bonus," I said, my voice steadier now. "I didn't know we were getting them." I slowly turned my head to look directly at Derek. His face had gone from pale to red, beads of sweat forming on his forehead. The dining room fell into uncomfortable silence. Mr. Harrison's expression shifted from confusion to concern, then to something harder. "Derek, can you explain this?" Derek cleared his throat, fumbling with his napkin. "There must be some administrative error. I'll look into it first thing Monday morning." "An administrative error?" Mr. Harrison's voice was sharp now. "Sophia was specifically included in the bonus allocation. I signed off on it myself. $25,000, same as everyone else at the table. $25,000. My annual salary was $42,000. That bonus represented more than half my yearly income, enough to pay off a huge chunk of my student loans. I'm sure there's an explanation," Derek stammered. "Perhaps it went to the wrong account, or perhaps you can explain why you submitted paperwork 3 weeks ago requesting that Sophia Chen's bonus be redirected to miscellaneous department expenses," Mr. Harrison interrupted, pulling out his phone. "I'm looking at the email right now. It has your signature." The table erupted in whispers. The VP beside Derek leaned away from him slightly, as if proximity to Derek might contaminate him. My hands clenched in my lap. Derek had stolen my bonus. $25,000 that I'd earned, that I desperately needed, and he'd just taken it. "Where did that money go, Derek?" Mr. Harrison asked, his voice dangerously quiet. Derek's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Finally he said, "I used it for team-building activities and department resources. It was for the good of the team." Team building. I heard my own voice, louder than I intended. "Is that what you call your new Rolex? Your Colorado vacation home?" Because I've seen the receipts you expensed to the department. The words came out before I could stop them, fueled by months of watching Derek take credit for my work, of staying silent while he belittled my contributions in meetings, of being told I should be grateful for the learning opportunity every time I asked about advancement. Derek's eyes narrowed. Sophia, you're out of line. No, Mr. Harrison said firmly. She's not. Continue, Sophia. I took a deep breath, my heart pounding. For the past 8 months, I've been doing the technical work on every major project. I built the entire Meridian financial model, the one that won us the $12 million contract. Derek presented it, but I did the analysis, the projections, even wrote most of the presentation deck. I pulled out my phone, hands shaking slightly. I have time-stamped files proving I created everything. I have emails where Derek asked me to fix his numbers because he didn't understand the formulas. I have chat logs where he asked me to explain basic financial concepts. This is absurd, Derek sputtered. I'm her supervisor. Of course she does work under my direction. Did you redirect her bonus into your personal accounts? Mr. Harrison cut him off. Derek went silent. The answer was written all over his face. Mr. Harrison's jaw tightened. Everyone except Derek and Sophia, please excuse us. We'll resume dinner in 30 minutes. The other executives filed out quickly, some shooting sympathetic glances my way, others carefully avoiding eye contact. Within moments, it was just the 3 of us in the elegant dining room. Mr. Harrison sat down slowly, gesturing for me to sit as well. Derek remained standing, looking like he wanted to run. I'm going to ask you direct questions, Derek, and I expect direct answers, Mr. Harrison said. Did you redirect Sophia's bonus into department accounts that you control? It was for team expenses, Derek said weakly. Yes or no? Yes, but did you use any of that money for personal purchases? Derek hesitated too long. I'll take that as a yes, Mr. Harrison said coldly. He turned to me. Sophia, you mentioned having documentation of your work on the Meridian project. Can you send that to me tonight? Yes, sir, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. The adrenaline was wearing off, leaving me shaky and slightly nauseated. Do that. Include everything. Files, emails, timestamps, chat logs. I want a complete picture. He stood up, straightening his jacket. Derek, you're suspended effective immediately. Pending investigation, you will not enter the office or contact anyone on your team. Security will escort you out. Derek's face crumpled. Mr. Harrison, please. I've been with this company for 8 years. This is a misunderstanding. The only misunderstanding was mine, thinking you had integrity, Mr. Harrison said flatly. He turned to me, his expression softening. Sophia, take the rest of the week off paid. I apologize that this happened under my watch. You'll hear from HR and our legal team by Monday. I nodded, not trusting my voice. 2 security guards appeared at the door. Mr. Harrison must have texted them. They approached Derek, who looked around desperately as if someone might save him. This isn't fair, Derek said as they led him toward the door. I built this department. I brought in those clients. She's just an analyst who did the actual work while you took the credit, Mr. Harrison finished. Goodbye, Derek. After they left, I sat alone in the dining room, staring at my untouched plate. My hands were still shaking. I just accused my boss of theft in front of the CEO. I'd either saved my career or destroyed it. Mr. Harrison returned a few minutes later with a glass of water. Drink this. You look pale. I took it gratefully. Thank you, sir. I'm sorry for causing a scene. You didn't cause anything. You exposed something that needed to be exposed. He sat down across from me. How long has this been going on? I thought about his question carefully. The credit-taking started about 6 months ago. At first I thought it was normal. He's my boss, so his name goes on the presentations. But then he started telling executives that he'd done analysis I'd actually done. He'd present my ideas as his own in meetings, sometimes while I was sitting right there. Why didn't you say something sooner? I tried once, I admitted. About 3 months ago, I mentioned to him that I'd like to present some of my own work in the next client meeting. He told me I wasn't ready, that I needed more experience before facing clients directly. Then he told me if I wanted to advance, I needed to be a team player, and not worry about individual recognition. Mr. Harrison's expression darkened. And the bonus. I didn't know there were bonuses until tonight. He never mentioned them. I assumed junior analysts weren't eligible. I looked down at my hands. I've been working 60-hour weeks for 8 months. I thought that was just what you had to do to get ahead. 60 hours. Mr. Harrison pulled out his phone again, scrolling through something. Your time card shows 40 hours per week maximum. My stomach sank. Derek told me not to report overtime. He said it looked bad, like I couldn't handle my workload efficiently. He said senior management would think I was incompetent. He was covering his tracks, Mr. Harrison said grimly. If you weren't reporting hours, there was no record of how much work you were actually doing. We sat in silence for a moment. Finally, Mr. Harrison said, "Send me everything tonight. Every file, every email, every piece of evidence you have. I want to understand the full scope of this situation." Am I in trouble? I asked quietly. Trouble? Sophia, you're the victim here. He looked at me seriously. But I need you to understand something. This investigation is going to be thorough. Derek will likely lawyer up, claim you're lying or exaggerating. HR will interview everyone on the team. It may get uncomfortable. I have proof, I said, my voice stronger now. Timestamps on every file, version histories, emails where he asked me to do specific work then claimed he did it himself. I've been documenting everything since the 3rd time he took credit for my analysis. Mr. Harrison raised an eyebrow. You've been documenting for 3 months. I had a feeling something wasn't right. My dad always told me to keep records of my work. I pulled out my laptop from my bag. I can send you the files right now if you want. Please do. I spent the next 20 minutes attaching files to an email while Mr. Harrison made phone calls in the corner of the room. When I finished, I had sent him over 50 documents, spreadsheets with my name in the file properties, emails proving I'd done specific analyses, even screen recordings of me building financial models. Sent, I said finally. He looked at his phone as the email arrived, scrolling through the attachments. His expression grew darker with each file he opened. This is damning, Mr. Harrison said after several minutes of reviewing the files. Derek didn't just take credit for your work. He systematically erased your contributions. Some of these files, he's changed the author name from yours to his in the document properties. He nodded. I noticed that too. That's why I started keeping original versions with timestamps. Mr. Harrison set down his phone and looked at me with something like respect. How old are you, Sophia? 24, sir. And you've been with us for 8 months. Yes, sir. This is my first job out of graduate school. He shook his head slowly. You have better documentation skills than most executives I know. And the work itself, these models are sophisticated. The meridian projection model alone is remarkable. You built that entirely yourself. Yes, sir. Derek gave me the client requirements and asked me to run some numbers. I spent 3 weeks building the model, testing scenarios, validating assumptions. When I showed it to him, he said, "Great job," and took it to the client meeting without me. Did he understand how it worked? I hesitated, then decided honesty was my only option now. No, sir. After the client meeting, they had technical questions. Derek called me from the conference room and had me explain the formulas to him while he was on mute, so he could repeat my answers to the client. Mr. Harrison's expression was unreadable. That's fraud, Sophia. That's not just taking credit. That's active deception of a client. The weight of that statement settled over me. I'd known Derek's behavior was wrong, but hearing it called fraud by the CEO made it real in a way it hadn't been before. What happens now? Asked. Now. I'm calling an emergency board meeting for Monday morning. This isn't just about your bonus, though that's serious enough. This is about systematic fraud within our organization. He paused. Derek was being considered for VP. Can you imagine if we'd promoted him? I hadn't known that. The thought of Derek as a VP with even more power to exploit people like me made me feel sick. Sophia, I need to ask you something important, Mr. Harrison said. Are there others on the team Derek has treated this way? I thought about my colleagues. Maybe. There's another junior analyst, Kevin, who does a lot of Derek's technical work. And Priya in operations. She's always working late on Derek's projects, but he never mentions her in presentations. I want you to make a list. Everyone you think might have been affected. Don't talk to them yet. Let HR handle the interviews. But give me names. I nodded, pulling up my notes app to start the list. One more thing, Mr. Harrison said. Your bonus. You'll have it by end of day Monday, with interest and a formal apology. That's non-negotiable. Thank you, sir. The relief was overwhelming. Don't thank me. You earned that money. I'm just sorry you had to fight for what should have been freely given. Monday morning, I arrived at the office to find I'd been moved to a different floor. My new desk was in a quiet corner with actual windows, a luxury in our building. A note on the desk read, "Temporary workspace while we sort things out." HR. My phone rang before I'd even sat down. It was Patricia from HR. Sophia, can you come to conference room C? The investigation team needs to interview you. The next 3 hours were intense. 2 lawyers and an HR director asked me detailed questions about everything. How long I'd worked for Derek, what projects I'd been assigned, how he'd handled credit and recognition, the bonus situation, my work hours, everything. I showed them my documentation. They took copies of everything, asked follow-up questions, made notes constantly. You've been incredibly thorough, one of the lawyers said. Most employees in your situation wouldn't have thought to document so meticulously. My dad worked in corporate law before he retired, I explained. He always told me to keep records of everything just in case. I thought he was being paranoid until now. They asked if Derek had ever been inappropriate in other ways. Harassment, discrimination, anything beyond the credit-taking and bonus theft. I told them no, that his misconduct seemed purely financial and professional, not personal. That's actually good news, the HR director said. It means this is a cleaner case. Clear misconduct, clear evidence, clear resolution. What's the resolution? Asked carefully. They exchanged glances. We can't discuss that while the investigation is ongoing. But off the record, Derek Palmer will not be returning to this company. By Wednesday, word had spread throughout the office. I could feel people staring at me as I walked through the halls. Some looked sympathetic. Others looked curious. A few looked angry, though I wasn't sure if the anger was directed at me or Derek. Kevin, the other junior analyst I'd mentioned, stopped by my temporary desk. Is it true? Derek stole your bonus. I can't really talk about the details, I said carefully. There's an investigation. He took mine too, Kevin said quietly, sitting down. I just checked with payroll. I was supposed to get $15,000. I never received it. I thought maybe I wasn't eligible like you did. My heart sank. Kevin, you need to talk to HR. Today. I'm scared, he admitted. What if they don't believe me? What if I get in trouble for speaking up? They believed me, I said. And I have a feeling they're going to believe you too. Especially if you have documentation. By Friday, 3 more team members had come forward with similar stories. Derek had systematically stolen bonuses from everyone he supervised, redirecting nearly $200,000 over the past 2 years into department accounts he controlled, then using those funds for personal expenses. The CFO himself came to see me Friday afternoon. Miss Chen, I wanted to personally apologize. Our controls should have caught this. The fact that one manager could redirect multiple bonuses without oversight is a system failure. What happens now? Yes. Derek Palmer has been terminated. We're filing criminal charges for embezzlement. And we're reviewing every department's bonus distribution for the past 3 years. On Monday of the following week, Mr. Harrison called me to his office. I walked in nervously, still not entirely sure I wasn't somehow in trouble despite everyone's assurances. "Sit down, Sophia," he said, gesturing to a chair. His office was impressive. Corner suite, huge windows, elegant furniture. "I wanted to update you personally on where things stand." He slid a paper across the desk. "This is your bonus, $25,000 plus 12 months of interest as promised. And this," he slid another paper, "is back pay for 300 hours of unreported overtime at time and a half." I stared at the numbers. The overtime alone was another $15,000. "But that's not why I called you here," Mr. Harrison continued. "Derek's position is obviously vacant. I've been reviewing the work you did on the Meridian account and several other projects. Sophia, your technical skills are exceptional. Your financial modeling is better than most people with 5 years of experience." "Thank you, sir," I said, unsure where this was going. "I'm not offering you Derek's job. You're not ready for director level yet. But I am creating a new senior analyst position with a significant raise and a direct line of reporting to the VP, bypassing middle management entirely. You'd be working on high-level strategy projects, presenting to clients, building the kind of models you've been doing in the shadows." My breath caught. "Sir, the salary is $85,000, plus eligible for quarterly bonuses based on performance. You'd have your own office and a junior analyst to train. What do you say?" I sat there trying to process everything. 2 weeks ago, I'd been a junior analyst making $42,000 a year, working in a cubicle, being told I wasn't ready for responsibility. Now I was being offered a senior position with double the salary, my own office, and direct access to executives. "I accept," I said, my voice barely steady. "Thank you, Mr. Harrison. I won't let you down. I know you won't. You've already proven what you're capable of." He stood up, extending his hand. "Welcome to the leadership team, Sophia. I expect great things from you." As I left his office, my phone buzzed with a text from Kevin. "Did you hear? They're promoting both of us. I'm getting senior analyst too." I smiled, texting back, "Congratulations. We earned it." Walking back to my temporary desk, soon to be my actual office, I thought about that dinner 2 weeks ago. The moment Mr. Harrison asked about the bonus. The moment I'd said, "What bonus?" The look on Derek's face when everything unraveled. I hadn't planned to expose him that night. I just answered a question honestly. But that one honest answer had changed everything. My phone buzzed again. This time it was my dad. "Your mom told me about the promotion. I'm proud of you, but I'm not surprised. I taught you to document everything for a reason. Always protect yourself, kid." I texted back. "Best advice you ever gave me. Thank you." 6 months later I sat in my office, my actual office with my name on the door, reviewing projections for our biggest client. Kevin knocked on the doorframe. "Got a minute? I want to run these numbers by you." "Always," I said, gesturing him in. We spent 20 minutes going through his analysis. He'd done excellent work, and I told him so. "This is exactly what the client needs." "Great job, Kevin." "Thanks. I learned from the best." He paused at the door. "You know, I almost didn't report what Derek did to me. I was too scared. If you hadn't spoken up first, you would have figured it out eventually," I said. "You're too smart not to." After he left, I turned back to my computer, but my mind wandered to that dinner. Sometimes I wondered what would have happened if I'd stayed quiet, if I'd just nodded and pretended I'd received the bonus, if I'd let Derek continue stealing from all of us. But I'd spoken up. And that moment of honesty, what bonus, had exposed corruption that had been hiding in plain sight for years. My phone chimed with a calendar reminder. Lunch with Mr. Harrison, mentorship check-in. I grabbed my notebook and headed for the elevator, smiling. The scared junior analyst who'd walked into that dinner 6 months ago was gone. In her place was someone who'd learned that the truth, no matter how uncomfortable, was always worth speaking, and that sometimes one honest question can change everything.